At the end of yesterday's episode, we had just fastened this little piece of easy line onto the side of the funnel. And we were going to try and fasten it to this line right here, which is letter V. And I think the best way to do this will be to once again put a little weight on the end of it and just drape it over top and let the weight hold it at about the right tension. And I think I'm going to use this same little piece of blue tack that we used before. It seemed to work okay. It wasn't too light even though it's extremely small. Let's get it elongated here. Get my tweezers. Okay. Trying to do this so you can see what I'm doing. Fold it over, make a little ball. There, we got a little mini wrecking ball. I hope it doesn't wreck anything. Okay, which way should we have it? Guess it really doesn't matter. Now what? Yeah, we'll try this again. Okay, over we go. Just hook into it here and pull it. Let's see what happens when we let go. Yeah, that's about the right tension. You notice it's pulling down just a little bit on this line. Now, from what I got out of the drawing, it should fasten at about midpoint between here and here. Now, it's really hard to tell on those drawings, I guess you call them. Well, actually, they're photographs of a real model. Maybe it should be just a little bit more here, if I could get it to stay there, that is. Well, let's just put it there. Now you will notice here how it's kind of going over top of this line, and it's forming sort of like a little hook. And when the CA glue penetrates the easy line, which it seems to do, it's going to sort of remain in that position. And yet on the other hand, if I support it from above, then it's not going to be pulling down on this line, if you know what I mean. And I wanted to pull down on it so that when we do remove the weight, our letter V here, which is running more or less horizontally, is going to keep this line right here taut. Thinking out loud again. Well, let's just fasten it there and see what happens. You know, I think I'm going to take out a few minutes here and I'm going to try and rig up that steady rest that I keep talking about. Now, I realize this is a most unusual perspective. You've probably never seen it before. But the idea is I want you to be able to see up into the gantry here. And what I want to try and do is, whoever it was that suggested, and I think there was maybe more than one person, this painter's maul type thing. It was called, a maul. M-A-H-L. And what it was a stick with a soft ball or something on one end. And the painter would take one end, hold one end in his hand, put the other end up on part of the sign where it was solid, and then he would lean against it. Now, my idea is something similar. I've got an old mop handle here, and I'm kind of leery about it. What I've done is I've put a 1/4 by 20 bolt in the end there and sharpened it. It already had the head cut off, so I didn't lose anything. So if this doesn't work, I didn't even lose a bolt. And the idea would be you put it in, and then it would stick into my brown cloth here. I don't know if you can see it. And I would just have to be careful. I would have to have some sort of little, I don't know, something that it could lock into so that it couldn't slide over. And the idea would be, I sure wouldn't want it to fall over, But the idea would be that maybe I could rest my hand on it like this. That's the idea. Although lots of times I like to use both hands, so I want to be able to let go of it. This is the first time I've tried it. It does seem to kind of work. I'm used to having something that I lean my arms down on though, and so this thing then would have to be like on a rack, suspended on both ends, and I could adjust it up and down. I think I mentioned that idea, but I want to try this first. Excuse me, and just see how it's going to go here. Like I say, as long as I'm careful to make sure that the end is far enough up through that it's not going to all of a sudden slip over and fall down on top of everything. I mean, yeah. I don't know, kind of harebrained actually now that I think about it, but maybe it works good for painting signs, but making models, maybe this is not a good idea, but we'll try it very, very carefully. Okay, this is going to be my first time trying it out, practically that is. Now I've found a few places up above where I can lock this in, so I don't need to worry about it falling over. But how is it going to work here? I can't move the ship closer to me without having to change my apparatus there. So how about something like this, I guess. Now, where's my little knife that I want to use? Okay, will this steady everything? Yeah, it kind of does. It definitely steadies my right hand. Let's see how it's going to be when I actually get right in there, though. Yeah, I think I could make this work. I could probably see it better if I could look up at it instead of down. It seems to work pretty good. I'll put the macro lens on. Oh, while I'm thinking of it, some of you may have noticed that my overhead camera apparatus thing looked like it was about ready to break loose there on that one side. Well, there was a safety thing on, and that was as far as it would go. It wasn't as bad as it looked. Okay, now don't breathe here. Okay, now carefully pull it away, keeping an eye on the lines that they don't catch on anything. Just help them a little bit here. Maybe if I go forward. Okay. There, we're free. Now we'll zoom in and take a close look at this. Okay, you can see that there is a little tiny bump on the top of it there. But you have to be moved in pretty good to see it. We don't even have the macro lens on though, and we can see it. Maybe I could have gone a little closer to this line right here, but I was afraid, if I go too close, even if I don't accidentally cut the line, I could break the glue joint, and then, yeah. I think we're going to be happy with this. And there is a little bit of tension here. Now I'm sure you knew I was going to stick the super macro on. Just a very quick update on this beautiful spring day here in Winnipeg. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and as you can see, all remnants of the carrots is gone. I guess I'll be throwing out the cabbage. Sorry, neighbor, but your heart was in the right place. Thank you. Well, clearly we have turned our Bismarck around, and we'll do the one on the other side. Now let's try not to bend any gun barrels here. Guess I didn't make a deep enough countersink. Wonder what on earth I'm going into there. Should have been through by now. I was through. That's the trouble with using the macro lens. You see all my silly mistakes here. I wonder if I should try and repaint that after. Maybe I should. On the other hand, I might not have the exact same color anymore. That was another mistake I made when I started painting this. I was mixing up my own grays, if you remember. Well, I should have known I'd never be able to get the same one twice. Now here again I have a piece of line that was left over from something else. I think it's just long enough to go up to the antenna. As long as I don't stick it in too far. Maybe I should take and run it up and just check and see how, make sure it's going to make it without pulling it out. Got to readjust here. Okay, yeah, it has to go up to this antenna right here. Now, we got to talk about that. It's going to be a problem here. That did not quite go as planned. It's probably cured. Okay, let's make sure we don't break anything off here again. I think this is how I did it last time. Now, here's the problem. Guess you can tell I got my windows open. Anyway, when this comes up, I guess it's supposed to go, oops, careful now, Ron. It's supposed to go over this one right here. So, alright, it's going to reach, obviously. I haven't got my little weight on the end of it, of course. But when it goes over this one, and it is this one right here that we're supposed to put it over, it's going to pull down just a little bit more. And then this one, as you can see, is going to go slack. And so I'm thinking, why don't I put it over this one here, even though this isn't the right one? Then it will have a tendency to pull the other way. And if anything, it'll pull this one tighter, because this is going to want to rock like this. Okay, that's what I'm going to do, even though the plan doesn't call for that. Who knows? There must have been some wire going up onto this one here. I went through our photos, and I found one that shows this antenna up here at the top. You know, those double ones? Here's the one, and you can just see the beginning of the other one on the other side. But what I did notice was something really interesting. Do you notice right here? There appears to be some sort of a stabilizing bar between the antennas. Now, I've carefully followed the line along, and I do believe that it's connected to this antenna right here to help stabilize it. That's what it looks like to me, anyway. It's the photograph is very pixelated, obviously, and yeah, but anyway, that's what it looks like to me. It was some sort of a stabilizing bar that they had, at least when that photograph was taken, it was there. Obviously, they made a lot of changes to the Bismarck in the 2-3 years it was alive. Yeah. Okay. Very carefully here now. That's not good. That's pulling it a little bit too hard, isn't it? Now what are we going to do about that? Lessen the weight, maybe? I'll think of something here. Okay, not only that, but I do believe I've got it on the wrong side of this one right here. It should be on this side of it, and it's obviously on the other side. Okay, I'm going to rethread. But that still does not solve the problem of this not being straight here. Okay, I removed some of our blue tack here so that the weight is, as you can see, considerably less. Alright. I took this much off. is that going to be enough to hold that up? The only way we would have a problem later is if this easy line has a tendency to lose its stretchiness, and it's, you know what I mean, it just slowly gets slack all by itself. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'll just put it out a little bit more here. That kind of seems to help a little. All right, let's touch some CA medium right there. No, this one's not going too good. I think I need to readjust my stick here, because I want this to be flat against the CA on the end of that stick there. So now you don't need to worry. These will not break. Okay, they will not break. Well, that's some better. See what will happen if we can get that little weight over top. After all, it is blue tack. It should stick to something, right? Oh, it stuck to one of the other lines. Well, I'll fix that later, I guess. Now, gotta get that back. Okay, I think I can probably put the blade up against it at the right place. I'll put the macro lens on. Okay, I realize that you can't see it. The blue tack is stuck on the top of the stick there, and it's holding this easy line. Now, don't cut the wrong line. Okay, I think we were lucky again. Now, I realize it was out of your field of view there, but I did use the painter's maul there to steady myself. There's our little blue tack weight. Very carefully here. Pull ourselves out. Those should all straighten out. And they did. Alright, there we go. Another line on. It seems like we're only doing one line a day. Anyway, thanks for watching. All being well, we'll see you tomorrow with another line.